yeah, today I just felt like playing some boomer bands. Seriously though, I think so many people underestimate the importance of, some of the expressive tools that we have on the guitar, just like bends or slides, vibrato, things like that. So I think the overall intonation that you have as a guitar player is so important and so actually overlooked by many people, especially beginners. I think it's easy to get distracted by the flashy techniques and the cool things, the shred that you can do, and that might be the cause for overlooking some of the actually important aspects like intonation, especially when doing bends, vibrato, and other things like that. I think you can tell just by one note if a guitar player is actually a beginner or a more experienced player, just by the way they play that one note. So I think it's very important to focus on these things and make sure you're working on this as well as the other shred stuff. There was that whole thing with boomer bands with Tim Henson on the Rick Beato YouTube channel a few months ago, I think. I mean, I'm sure that was just a meme. You're not supposed to take these internet things seriously, but yeah, that actually made me think about what's really important for a guitar player. Is it just the technique, or do we still value, even in this modern guitar age, things like bendings and playing with feel, those things? I guess, I don't know, I think it's still important. If you look at players like, I don't know, Matteo Cesaro for instance, so he's amazing at blending the modern side of things, so the crazy technique licks with very classic bluesy stuff. Yeah, he's a good example, I think, of being a modern guitar player, so using modern techniques but at the same time keeping that classic feel that gives it just so much more expression, I think. So I was thinking we could actually talk a little bit about the technique today when it comes to bending, because it's actually not that obvious, and I see so many people, especially beginners, getting this wrong, I think. So let's start with bending. The first thing you want to obviously focus on is the intonation, but actually before that, the hand technique, because that's going to be the key to get the exact intonation and make sure you can get that consistently while you play. So the most common mistake that I see people make is trying to bend with their fingers, kind of like this. So you see, I'm basically just using just my fingers basically to lift the string, and that is actually, I mean, there's no reason to do that. Like, why would you make your life so much more difficult? I guess if you're using nines, that would work, because it's you don't have a lot of tension, but like, don't try that with 10s or 11s. It's gonna be very painful to bend the string just with your fingers. So I would recommend you stop doing that. I think a much more efficient way to do bends is to kind of distribute the work through the whole hand, even the arm a little bit, the forearm a little bit. So if you do something like this type of movement while I'm grabbing the neck with my thumb, that's kind of my anchor point. That basically helps you grabbing the string a bit more efficiently, I think, so you have more strength basically to reach the right intonation and to maintain that consistently. So yeah, that's just, I think, a more efficient way of doing that, especially when you're like up here. You really want to use the whole hand pretty much to lift the strings. So yeah, that's for like the mechanics of the movement, but then obviously the important part is the intonation. So that's basically the thing to practice. So you play the note. That was a bit sharp. Not quite there. That was flat. I guess, close enough. Notice that I'm doing that without adding the vibrato. The reason why you want to do that in the practice stage, obviously, is to really focus on the intonation, right? So if you don't do the vibrato, you basically, it's much more difficult to nail the exact intonation. Then obviously while you're playing, you're going to be adding a little bit of vibrato to compensate, because it's incredibly difficult to get, you know, the spot on intonation every time with the bend. So obviously you're going to add a little bit of vibrato to compensate for that. Because again, it's very difficult to maintain the to get the perfect intonation every time, especially while you're playing or improvising. So keep that in mind. It's still good to practice without adding vibrato. So, you know, staying still basically, and trying to take kind of a mental snapshot of what's supposed to feel like to get to the in tune note. So it's kind of like you have to build the muscle memory for that. So that's why it requires a lot of practice, I think. So it's not that intuitive as many people think. Yeah, then from here it's just, you know, practice. So you sit there. You can try putting on the tuner if you're really that crazy. I try to do that sometimes. You know, you put on the tuner and basically you look at like how in tune you are. That was pretty good. That was sharp. A bit sharp. So you see, it's difficult, especially when you try to do different types of bends. So obviously there's a whole step, there's a half step on two different strings, so the tension is going to feel different. So you have all these variations that you have to take into account, and yeah, it's just a lot of practice really from here. Definitely something worth keeping in mind. Same thing for vibrato, actually. One of the things that I see people get wrong with vibrato is the intonation, right? So let's say you have this note and you want to add vibrato to this. So I'll show you like extremely slow down how it would look like. So I'm going basically up and down, not really up and down, but like it's like I'm bending the string up a little bit and then going back to the neutral string position. So that's going to be your in tune note, obviously, if your guitar is in tune. The point is you want to make sure you come back to the neutral string position. So the string as it is without any movement, right? Instead, I see many people kind of staying sharp, so they kind of end up here as they do the vibrato, so something like, and at the end they're here instead of here, so you see you're a lot sharper. So that's a sharp vibrato, and kind of pushing the string up a bit too much and not going back to the neutral in tune position. So you want to watch out for that. Right, that was sharp. This is the actual in tune note. That's something to keep in mind while you do the vibrato. And it's just another thing that you have to practice, really. You know, just spend some time playing one note, making it the most beautiful note that you can possibly play. Like really put your soul into that, you know what I mean? In all seriousness, it's just something that requires practice. That's just how it goes. That's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Make sure you watch the free training, link is in the description, and I guess I'll leave you with some takes of me practicing on a very famous Pink Floyd track. Yeah, I guess I was just in a boomer vibe. I'll keep practicing this. Obviously it's not that easy, actually. It's actually very challenging, I think, intonation and bends, and so yeah, playing like a boomer is not that easy as modern guitarists want to believe it is. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Ciao.